Boom time is over and the Irish tourism business has a job on its hands. From hotels to golf courses, from castles to city centres, visitor numbers are down and the Emerald Isle is in danger of losing its sparkle. So, is Ireland, and more importantly, are foreign tourists, still up for the crack? Also in this week's programme, we talk to the chief executive of low-cost carrier Ryanair about his future plans. Check-in desks on the way out, mobile phones are in. And if you want to spend a penny, you might well find yourself spending £1 or $1 or €1.
You decide whether you pay for the coffee, you decide whether you want to put £1 to use the toilet, you decide whether you want to check in a bag or not. But it is your decision.
Hello and welcome to Fast Track in Dublin with me, Rajan Datta. Now, Ireland's enjoyed a charmed couple of decades of growth, with tourism contributing greatly to the Celtic Tiger's copious coffers. But now there's a global recession and this country has taken a battering, and in particular the high-end hotels and attractions. So what new initiatives are there to help kickstart the tourism economy, and why should the likes of you and me come here in the first place? This is Ireland's most popular visitor attraction, the Guinness Storehouse and Brewery, celebrating its 250th anniversary this year. Rising visitor numbers here represent one lone spark of good news for Ireland's tourism economy. But there are significant changes in who's coming and where from.
In terms of nationality, we were very reliant on the UK before. About kind of 40 to 42% would have come from the UK, whereas now that figure, some 3 years on, is about 26, 27%. So we've now noticed that although they're about 26%, the US has always stayed around kind of 18 to 20%, but mainland Europe is the real star performer. Italy in particular, that's actually become the third biggest visiting nationality for us.
After years of the Irish economic miracle, times are getting tougher in the Emerald Isle. Visitor numbers throughout the country fell for the first time in 7 years in 2008, with figures from the traditional markets of the US and the UK particularly worrying. Tourism is a big economic sector in Ireland and could become the saviour of the country's economy. But, say critics, will the government's new tourism tax be more of a hindrance than a help?
You have to look at all the issues within the economy, and obviously one would argue about the €10 tax. I mean, it's not something I'd be the happiest in the world as a Minister for Tourism, because you'd be looking for everything, but I mean, I have to take a view in terms of the overall economy.
There are two things any Irish expert in travel will immediately refer to: inclement weather and overpricing. The former they can do very little about, while everyone agrees on the solution to the latter. If you need proof that Dublin, if not the rest of Ireland, has become just a little bit pricey, then let me tell you that this street is said to be the 5th most expensive in the world. Only the shishi boulevards and avenues of New York, Milan, Hong Kong and Paris can beat it, apparently.
Well, it is a fact. From a rental point of view, Grafton Street is one of the most expensive in the world. And when I talk about restoring the cost competitiveness of Ireland, I mean issues like that.
One mid-market hotelier is optimistic. In pubs, in shops, everywhere, it feels very expensive. Now, if I'm feeling that, I suspect a lot of tourists will be feeling that. How can you address that?
I think that market forces will address that, and it's already begun to address it. I mean, if you look at what's happening across the city, whether it's retail, whether it's the pubs, they're all saying to themselves they have to reconfigure themselves and re-engineer their businesses.
An expensive euro is not helping. Right now, it's certainly a turn-off for the UK and US markets. Employment in the tourism industry here has fallen by 10%, and as Dublin's badly hit five-star hotels lay off staff, some entrepreneurs say the city is in need of a reality check.
Tax incentives were introduced and used very aggressively to try and encourage the construction of hotels. It worked very well. Thousands and thousands of hotel bed spaces came on the market. Unfortunately, many of them came on in areas where there was no real demand, and we are now left with a serious excess hotel space around the country.
So, if prices are high, there are too many hotel rooms and in the wrong places, and the weather's not very good, why come to Ireland? 30 years ago, U2 burst onto the scene, representing a new generation of angry and rebellious youth. In doing so, they boosted Ireland's global image and attracted hordes of young tourists who came to pay homage at their old recording studios. So where's the next inspiration going to be for fresh cultural tourism? Venture around Dublin's educational and cultural quarters, and there's clearly an appetite for the city's history and intellectual traditions. What in particular brings you here?
Well, to visit the Book of Kells, because I work in a library, obviously it has a lot of interest for me, and I have to say we've really thoroughly enjoyed having a look at the Long Room and the Book of Kells, of course.
In China, do many people know about Ireland? Do they know about Irish history?
A little bit.
At the moment, they know a lot because how too many Chinese students came here have studied.
Especially for me, Ireland, it's the magic of the music. It's the magic of the ancient music, where we can find the ground of our origin.
There's a lot of very strong cultural attractions around the country that are not fully utilised, they're not fully exploited. And one of the reasons for that is because there hasn't been enough investment in those attractions in terms of modernising them, in terms of bringing them up to date, and in terms of marketing them.
Research shows that the largest segment of potential visitors to Ireland is in the category known as sightseers and culture seekers.
Because people know about our writers, they know about our music, they know about that. So that has a big impact on selling Ireland. And it's about 3 million people went through our cultural institutions last year, which is very significant. And more than 60% of that came from overseas.
During the boom years, some here held aspirations of Dublin becoming more of a continental, Europeanised destination. But today the received wisdom is that Ireland has got to return to its traditional selling points.
Ireland is a very nice country. People are very friendly.
The people, they want to help you in restaurants, on the streets, when you're looking for a hostel, when you don't know the directions. The directions,
Yeah.
They help you and so.
And it's very cheap to fly here.
Yeah.
It's very clear from the research that it's our people. I mean, it is the people, it's the sense of fun, it's the sense of friendliness. I suppose it's the ambience, it's the lifestyle, it's all of that.
10 years ago, this area was a derelict wasteland. Now it's promising to be a new, responsible financial hub. The River Liffey runs from the mountains through Dublin and into the Irish Sea. And over there, in the very heart of Dublin's redeveloped Docklands area, lies a beacon of hope for the future of tourism in Ireland. A brand spanking new international conference centre.
If there's anything happening down the horizon, this is the most wonderful thing to happen in Ireland for tourism in a long number of years.
The prospect of sustained business tourism to Ireland is promising. But the key challenge, recognised by everyone in the industry here, is to channel any visitors away from the capital. Because, quite simply, Dublin does not equal Ireland.
around the country, there are a lot of mind-blowing, iconic attractions that people need to be pushed towards. The mountain ranges in Ireland are fantastic for hill walking, for example. There's fantastic potential for cycling tourism. There's fantastic potential for water sports. So there's a whole range of adventure and other activities that should be sold as part of the Irish experience.
And now to some other travel news from around the world. And to Dubai first, where figures show hotel occupancy rates dropped last year despite one of the most lavish opening parties ever. In 2008, only 79% of the city's rooms were taken, a 5% fall on the year before. Part of the reason, according to analysts JLL, was that more rooms were built during a time visitor numbers were slowing. Dubai's biggest hotel, the Atlantis, opened its doors to a great deal of fanfare in September. Could this be the cheapest way to get halfway across the world? China Southern Airlines is offering a flight from Amsterdam to Beijing for around $35 US. Check the small print though before you fly. That price doesn't include tax, which comes to a more realistic $400. And forget Russian billionaires or rich Arab sheiks. It appears all the money is in Germany these days. The country's tourism body claims its travellers spent more on holiday than anyone else in the world last year, nearly $85 billion in total. They didn't travel very far though, with the most popular destinations being Spain, Italy and Austria. Well, stay with us here on Fast Track, because coming up after the break, we talk to the man many travellers love to hate. He's revolutionised low-cost travel in Europe and now wants to go even further. Try no check-in desks and paying to use the toilet for size. That's still to come, so don't go away.